Hi guys, it's a cool morning here in central Pennsylvania, and Dad and I are headed to the Amish produce auction to look for some tomatoes for a big family spaghetti sauce day. We pass through several towns, and I can tell we're getting closer to the auction as we pass more horse and buggies, and we start to also pass more farm equipment.
That was tight.
I love seeing the variety of ways people get to the auction. Some ride bikes, many drive trucks, some come via horse and buggy, and there's parking for the horse and buggies right across from the cars. I've been to a handful of produce auctions, but this is the biggest, most abundant one I've seen. It's so pretty, and after spending the whole summer growing food, to see this kind of abundance, it just looks like gold. It was really lovely. There's just a flurry of skid loaders everywhere, moving around pallets of local produce, and there's multiple auctions going on at the same time, so there's always the sound of at least two auctioneers selling wares, and it's just lovely. Each auction is a three-man operation. There's the auctioneer wearing his own microphone and speaker set. Then there's someone with a clipboard recording bids, and someone else who marks off each bin with the number of the winning bidder.
3/4, 310 here, 310, 310 here, 310 bid. So $3.71.
Things clip along at a quick pace here. If you slow down, you might miss your chance at something. Also, everyone seems to bid with really subtle gestures. Here's my dad in the blue shirt. That tiny nod was his winning bid for the tomatoes.
Takes one time.
We won the bid for 12 boxes of plum tomatoes, which is perfect. As a bonus, I'd also had my eye on some habanero peppers, but I definitely don't need a pallet load of them. And Dad asked the winning bidder to sell us a box, so I've got a full box of habanero peppers. I'm going to make the hottest fermented hot sauce ever. I'm excited. Early the next morning, my parents hosted spaghetti sauce day. There are actually just two families that wanted spaghetti sauce this year. Everybody else had enough from previous years. So my sister-in-law and I each wanted a year's supply, and my parents didn't need any, but were gracious enough to host the day and lead the charge. I let my kids skip school for this day because they love these big family food preservation days. I'm calling this a life education for them.
Give it to me.
We start off with coring the tomatoes. I like this little tool for coring. I find it a lot easier to wield than a knife. And then from there, the tomatoes get sliced up and put into a pot to cook down a bit.
Okay, that's enough.
My parents have accumulated several burners over the years, and I am so happy to be doing this work outside. It's a beautiful day, and this work can become so hot when it's done in the house. So the tomatoes cook for a bit, just to soften them up and allow them to easily pass through the food mill.
Sure. Sure. Then someone else, you guys, can you guys keep an eye on these two? Keep them stirred occasionally. Obviously, it goes to the wood. This can be a little splashy, but I guess it's not a huge deal. All right, turning it on.
Okay. Oh my gosh, turn it off. I totally forgot to put something right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's try again. One of the trickiest parts of working with this volume of food at one time is that there's so many batches going at once and there's so many parts of this process overlapping. There's just a lot of juggling and things to tend to, and pots that are in demand because they are needed for canning, but also for heating the tomatoes, but also for catching the sauce. So we've juggled it before. My parents have a pretty good handle on it, but it is a lot to figure out. Once the sauce has run through the food mill, this waste goes through it one more time. We want to be sure that we get everything we can out of our tomatoes, and there's still a bit more sauce in there, so nothing's going to waste here today. After the tomatoes are pureed, they go back onto the heat to start the longest part of the process, which is the cook down. We gave each pot about an hour or two to boil off some of its water content and thicken so that it's the right texture. You can see the stages of the process here. Tomatoes that have just gone on, tomatoes that have cooked for a bit, and sauce that has been boiling and thickening. To flavor the tomato sauce, there's a combination of onions, garlic, red wine, and fresh basil in the blender, and that gets blended together and a blenderful is added to each pot. This is my mom's recipe that we're following, and I'll share that recipe down below. But I'd be lying if I said that we measured anything here. We kind of have a sense of having made the sauce before and, added things with our heart. I added some dried oregano as well. I like to salt my sauce before canning it. My sister-in-law likes to wait and salt her sauce before serving. So there's a lot of flexibility here as we turn our tomato sauce into spaghetti sauce.
Basically like where your wood is now? Grab your wood, scrape on the bottom.
Yeah. My sister-in-law likes to bag her spaghetti sauce, so for her, that's the last step in this process. But for me, the last step is canning. To me, you just can't beat the convenience of canned sauce. I added 2 tablespoons of lemon juice to each jar before filling with spaghetti sauce. This brings the sauce to the right acidity level to be safe for water bath canning. These big family food preservation days really do mark the seasons for me. Corn is early summer, spaghetti sauce is late summer, and then in the fall we turn to applesauce. I love how this marks time, and I also love how videoing these gives me the chance to watch us work and see my kids grow up from one spaghetti sauce day to the next. I really am grateful to just be able to share this with you. If you like to preserve food, let me know in the comments, do you ever spend time preserving food with others? I find that I really like preserving food, but it's often solitary work, and it's nice that there are days when we can do it together. I'll be honest, we are exhausted at the end of this day. I don't mean to over-romanticize it. It is hard work, but also by the end of the day, I have our year's supply of spaghetti sauce. And my kids have made more memories with their cousins and their grandparents.
I won't need more water on top of them.
Right? Lid?
Okay.
Yay!
Actually, I got a big barrel to explode.
Our final tally for the day was 65 quarts of sauce packed into bags for freezing and 41 quarts of sauce canned, so a 106 quart day. I'm really happy to have this on my shelves. Next week, I will be back in the garden bringing you along for some harvesting. So join me for Harvest Day, and I hope you have a great week.